sitting back taking $18,000 every year in vacation. Like that's just unrealistic. And I think a part of that too is where you come from and where you end up at. And with that being said, it's like I've been at the bottom. I mean, the bottom, not the figurative bottom, like below the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you at a point like that, everything looks good to you, and you always want to be in a better position. And then when you get to a better position, you still want to be in a better position. And it's like no matter where you get to, that may always be the case. However, people have to learn to be happy where they at and understand the difference between wanting things and needing things. I want to travel internationally once every 3 months. Do I need to? Absolutely not. And if that's an expense that I got to drop, and I'm speaking specifically to their case, like if that's an expense I got to drop to make ends meet, that is not a question. That is not a debate. That is not a hardship. That is something that has to be done. But they doing that without thinking about it. And they budgeted in their luxury cars because something else on their list was like their BMWs. Like, fuck, I've been driving my truck for 10 years. You budgeted in your BMW as part of your, oh, I got to pay bills. This is such a hardship. And after taxes and your 401ks and your insurance, y'all still clearing $300,000+ net.
Yeah.
The fuck is you talking about? Like, that's not hardship.
And I think it's safe to, at least I believe, I think that billionaires and extremely wealthy people are, I would probably say, negative side effects to a well-run economy. I don't think in the perfect world, each economic system, there is no room for billionaires.
Yeah.
Because capitalism at its peak performance, there are no billionaires, just like there are no one below the poverty line.
Yeah, exactly.
But those two, because those are extremes. There are no extremes like that.
Yeah.
Because if you're acting your own self-interest, you wouldn't be poor.
That's absolutely true.
So and that's why I also think just keeping that in mind and using that example and viewing us in that scope, I guess for me, it does. That's what makes it such a great movie for me because just like you're almost looking at the when the cup overflows and we're dealing with the spillover, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that was the great thing about the movie. And again, credit to Peele because for someone like me who has seen so many horror movies, I like to look at something that makes me think a little bit beyond just the killing. But even if I just wanted to turn my brain off, I just enjoy it as a film, even with the twist and all the acting performances and the comedy. It was a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And for that, he's got a surefire fan and supporter in me for damn near forever.
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier. Like he's always going to make money because you're going to want to go and see his movies for both, the cinematic effect of it and the fact of what is he saying in this movie that that he's hiding in the symbolism. Where are the Easter eggs? What is he getting at? What does he mean by this? And as somebody pointed out, like that's why his movie is going to continue to make a lot of money because he makes movies, at least his last two major movies, are movies that you can go back and watch twice. And it's like, all right, the first time I watched it, kind of trying to, all right, look at it as a movie and catch some of the stuff. But you can watch it again just for the cinematic effect of it and then watch it a third time for, like, the Easter eggs and the meaning behind it. And you could probably get some out of it all three times.
Yep.
And when it's like that, yeah, you're going to forever make money because there are going to be those people that's going to go back and see it in the movie theater again. But there's also going to be those people that, yeah, they're going to see it in the movies. They're going to buy it when it come out. They might see it twice while it's in the movie and then buy it when it come out. Like, his money is made. He's made all his money back and then some, and he's going to continue making money off of it.
I'm definitely going to have to see it again. because I feel like I need to see it probably a couple times to make sure, like, I'm sure you get something different out of each viewing. To your point,
Yep.
and
But
I am going to support a black man. I just got to.
of course, you gotta see that. But most definitely, you gotta support Lupita as well.
Shout out to Lupita. Shout out to Winston Duke. Shout out to the kids. They're great. And a point about Lupita, which will transition us to the next topic, is Lupita. Even though once we found out the character was actually the tethered who was above ground, was a trash wife. when when my man was trying to get some of them cheeks, she played him to the side. When they invaded the home, she just said, "Don't hurt my children." Where her husband's out there with a fucking broken ankle, torn ACL, and getting dragged out to surely get dispensed. But real niggas don't go out that easy.
I mean, they want to get crazy.
She was trash. So now let's go into dating best practices.
Oh man. Where do I start? Well, you know what? I'm gonna start on a different note, all right? Because there's some best practices, and then there's some things that I do that I think could help some people, right? And I say that because men, especially, you got to understand the age you're in. You got to understand people being comfortable and what you should do as a man. So one of my favorite things to do, I consider it one of my best practices. If I can, like I'm meeting somebody new or I'm going out with somebody I don't know, I'll do a daytime date. Because, I mean, we already know, one, women are going to let 100 other people know where they at.
Every time.
But darkness naturally makes people defensive. Once the sun go down, it naturally makes people guards go up. So if I meet somebody during the daytime in a public place, that's always better for me. And I also like to do it, if I can, in a situation where I may or may not be taking a break from work or transitioning out of my day, simply because then I can work in a hard stop time. Like I have this amount of time. And not because it's like I'm trying to cut the date off, but more so like it gives us both an out. And if you actually want to spend more time with somebody or see somebody again, then naturally you set up another date. But it doesn't obligate somebody to be there. Opposed to both of y'all sitting there with nothing to do. There might be one person sitting there thinking, man, I'm really ready for this date to be over. and it's really dragging on. But if you put it into a situation where it's like, all right, I know the time is going to end, and I would like to have more time. So if we both agree on that, cool. But if not cool, at least I know exactly how long it's going to last. It kind of takes a lot of that stress away. But I also caveat this by saying I look at everything psychologically before I do any other way. So I know most people probably not even sitting back thinking about this kind of stuff. They jump on, they do a meetup, they see what time a movie coming on, whatever. And most people days in the evening in the first place. But yeah, I don't think, at least for me, that it's always wise to do a date at night, especially if it's the first date. Which brings me to another one. Dudes, be prepared to pay. I only say this, and I'm not opposed to people going Dutch, but I was raised in the South, and we ain't going Dutch. Like, I won't be offended if somebody reached for their wallet or something like that, but I'm going to pay. And I say that because I was watching, I think I was watching OA on Netflix, and this guy met up with this female off of Tinder or something, and the bill came, and he was like, I owe $48.50, and you owe $44 something. And she kind of looked at him like, what? And then she was like, can't we just split it? And he was like, well, I wanted to make sure that it was fair. And she was like, $5, like it's not that big of a deal. So you know right there at that point, he done fucked up. He's not getting another date. Right. Like it's not happening, because her problem wasn't splitting the bill. Her problem was, if you're making a big deal over $5, something is not right. Like, I don't care one way or another. And I say that in the grand context of dates and in general, because I mean, it's plenty of times we might be out as homies and we'll just whoever pick up the bill, pick up the bill. We ain't sitting there thinking about who covering the bill.
Yes.
But let's get the Richard Washington perspective on what should be done on a date.
I agree with you, but there's caveats. One, no adult should ever go out the house and not be prepared to pay their own way if they have to.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to be caught in a situation where cards get declined, or it gets so bad you want to leave early, or you just want to you just have no choice.
Yeah.
And also, whoever's asking who out on the date should pay.
That's the one I was waiting for. That one.
Don't ask me out. Don't ask me out to go out in movies and dinner, and then look at me like, oh, so you're gonna pay? I was like, well, wait a minute. My plan was to eat for free at home and watch TV. It's like you're the one that decided that we need to go do something. Just like and vice versa. Like I'm not gonna ask anyone out anywhere without taking care of the evening.
Yep.
Because I think it's incumbent on me as a person who invited you out and is trying to do something creative or do anything just simple to take care of that, because otherwise, like, it's not like you can do other things with your time, and if anything, you're gracing me with your presence and help and being a companion for the allotted amount of time. So I should at least treat you as a form of gratitude.
I agree.
And it's just a matter of principle, as we're always about principle.
Yep, I completely agree. I'll caveat that though. I want to caveat that real quick though, but just by saying, I think at least for me, another thing that plays into that is how long I've known someone, right? So like, and most times when I'm in a relationship, and there's two reasons for this: one that is valid and one that is probably not so valid. If I've been in a relationship with somebody for a while and they like, let's go out and do something, and more often than not, at least people that I've talked to, they'll offer to pay, but like I'm in a relationship, I ain't really tripping about it. I get it. But also, and like I said, this one is a little bit opinionated. Like, I find it that more frequently that shit comes back to haunt you, at least in relationship wise, when the female pays and then it's brought back up. I found that on the male end, it comes back up more often when it's like a casual dating experience and they pay and then they're expecting something in return, because then you just flat out wrong. But the bottom line is, anybody ever say to me some shit like, well, I paid and I don't really care either way. Like, you lost 100% of your credibility and I'm already on to the next, because clearly I can pay, so it doesn't matter. But so usually just for that reason, I go ahead and pay, because I know I'm never gonna speak on it. I'm never gonna bring it up again, and it's not one of them things where I even think about it in general. And I mean, that's how I've always been in relationships. That's how I've always been with friends. I don't even care like it's me, my friends, and a bunch of other people, or me, my friends, and family, or whoever. Like, usually, and I mean, you can speak to this. Like, me and you might be out, and we could be with the whole crew, and one of us will either pick that bill up, or both of us gonna pick that bill up and split it. We ain't even gonna look at exactly. We're not gonna look at even the rest of the people there to pay the bill.
Yeah. So, and we've done this.
Exactly.
We've done it. Even with surprise guests and visitors that we didn't expect to show up. Like, we paid for my sister's boyfriend who wasn't invited.
And I mean, like that's why I say that. Like that is a no question situation for us, based off how we was raised, right? So it's like, with me knowing that, I'm not even gonna think about that from the time I walk out of that restaurant. It's gone. But then you have people that's later on down the lower line gonna be like, especially if they're not used to doing that or they're not raised like that, they're gonna be like, well, I paid last time. We don't really give a fuck about who paid last time. Like, it's been plenty of times where one of us might be up in the bathroom, we come back out and we be like, check paid. You know what I mean?
It's already paid, yeah.
And same thing with dates. So it's kind of like, it's just a natural, automatic thing to do that alleviates even the possibility